European Championship action here then at the circuit, the Barcelona, Catalunya, here in northeast Spain, in the Catalunya region of Spain. A beautiful circuit with plenty of history behind it and plenty of action coming your way. The 4.7-kilometre circuit's got 14 turns to it, 8 corners to the right and 6 to the left. It's got a mix of changes of directions, long swooping fast corners, hard braking, and always throws up something special here in Catalunya. The circuit has played host to some historic moments in motorsport, but this weekend it's playing host to the Finetwork FIM JuniorGP Championships. And the final race on the billing, the final race of the day, is the Stock European Championship. All these bikes, stock 600cc machines. The difference between this category and the categories that we've already seen here in Barcelona, these are the only category that run road bikes. All the others are completely prototype bikes made for racing, whereas these ones, these are 600cc road bikes that you can buy yourself, but obviously these ones are adapted to be able to race around these circuits. Myself, Tristan Finocchiaro, will be bringing you all the action, and alongside me will be Chris Jordan. Looking forward to this one then. Chris, a perfect finale to the day's action.
Yeah, it should be an absolutely superb event once again in the stock class, and the title is very much up for grabs here as well. The story of the season, well, we'll come to that in just a moment.
Here's the review then from the last round in the Algarve.
So lights out, saw Daniel Munoz take the whole shot, and he was in a world of his own as he shot out way out in front as we look at Gonzalo Rivera, the home hero, coming over the famous Portimao crest. At the back of the grid from lights out was Eric Fernandez, and he came all the way through the grid. Mario Mayer had a good start as well, but long lap penalty ruined his chances of a podium. But Eric Fernandez started at the back of the grid and within 3 laps was slotted in behind Daniel Munoz out front. That meant only the final podium place was up for grabs, and after a long and wonderful battle, that went to the number 8, Marco Garcia. But Daniel Munoz was the king in Portimao and perfection in Portugal, and now that sets up a title tilt here in Barcelona. Sun is beating down on the Circuit de Catalunya, Barcelona, and that title charge continues and may just come to a head today for Daniel Munoz. He's got a 30-point advantage over his closest adversary. That is Eric Fernandez, but they do start 1 and 2 on the grid. They have been a cut above the rest this season, with either one of those 2 riders winning the races on offer. With the one race that Eric Fernandez winning, Daniel Munoz came second, and likewise Fernandez has been a regular finisher in second place, except for the season opener, where he crashed out in a battle with Munoz.
The championship story is very much, like you say, Chris, been between Dani Munoz and Eric Fernandez. Fernandez had to start from the back of the grid last time out in the Algarve, and by lap 2, as we just saw, already made his way up into second place. Those 2, an absolute cut above the rest. Dino Iozzo looking good at the moment, though. We've got a yellow flag at turn 4. I'm not quite sure if something's happened maybe on the sighting lap, on the formation lap here, or if it's just something wrong with our timing screens, but we'll keep an eye on that. Dani Munoz then, he's going to be starting from pole position, and he's going to have Eric Fernandez alongside him. Those 2, if those 2 get away, there'll be a danger of those 2 pulling away. So let's have a little listen to what Dani Munoz had to say after qualifying.
Ya que es un circuito en el cual nunca hemos rodado con esta moto y me estaba costando bastante desde el primer día. Y bueno, al final hemos podido conseguir igualar el ritmo de Eric y conseguirle batir en otra pole más. La verdad que es un circuito muy complicado, ya que entre el calor, a veces hace aire con racha bastante caliente, y la verdad está costando encontrar buen feeling con la moto en todos los fines de semana. Pero bueno, es lo que hay para todos igual, así que nada, mañana apretar. Bueno, intentaremos el máximo para conseguir lo máximo posible mañana, y bueno, se la dedicaría a mi entrenador Robe, que ha venido aquí, que su casa es de aquí, y nada, se la dedicaría a él, a la familia, a Jorge Arroyo, al equipo, a todos.
So 147.308 puts Danny Munoz on pole position once again in the stock class. And you could tell there that he does have some concerns about the conditions out there today. It is an absolute scorcher here in Barcelona. Over 30 degrees and a very, I think it was 38 degrees track temperature last time I checked, which is quite warm. And that really does affect the grip of these machines and tires. It's almost like when it gets too warm and the grip starts going, it's a sweating effect.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's sort of, the track starts to get a little bit greasy and you start to lose a little bit of grip. We saw the times were a little bit slower in the Moto2 race that we've just had, and that can affect the grip levels out on circuit. Munoz then, who we just saw, he'll be starting from pole position. He's won every race this year except one where he's finished second to Eric Fernandez, and that was back in Jerez. He's got some incredible consistency, and there is Eric Fernandez, the only man that's managed to get the better of Danny Munoz this year, the only man who's able to match him. He won, like we said, back at Jerez, finished second to Munoz and all the others, crashed out at Estoril, crashed out of the lead back in Estoril, and I'm sure he'll be eager to return to the top step, starting from the front row this time and not from the back of the grid.
Yeah, from the front row will make life easier, but he did scythe his way through the pack like a hot knife through butter last time. He did. That one DNF may prove crucial as he is 30 points off. And should he crash out and Munoz take first or second, that will be the title for Munoz. As we look at Dino Iozzo, 2 podiums so far to his name. He completes the front row. Real talent in this class as well, the Italian rider, and has plenty of potential going forward.
Yeah, Iozzo really coming into his own into this category. Actually raced here last season as well. Was a former runner in the World Supersport 300 category as well. Iozzo was looking very, very strong yesterday, was almost challenging the lap times of Fernandez and Munoz. Only a couple of tenths shy of Fernandez's lap time, but Munoz with that 47.3 looking very, very strong indeed.
A touching message then to Carlos Tatai, who unfortunately suffered a pretty heavy crash in, not Estoril, in Portimao last time out, that has seen him hospitalized since. But thankfully, Carlos has taken to social media during the week, posting a thumbs up and a big smile on his Instagram page, which is fantastic to see. But we do wish him a speedy, speedy recovery, the Moto2 European Championship rider. It's Adrian Rodriguez who has that adorned across the front of his machine. 2 P5s to kick off the season. Hasn't really kicked on from there. 13th in Jerez and 18th then in Portimao last time. So he'll be looking for a little bit more consistency going forward.
Yes, that 8th place in the championship is the number 44 of Adrian Rodriguez, a rookie this season. And then just behind him is his Easy Race Team Yamaha teammate of Marco Garcia in 5th place on the grid. Slap bang in the middle of the second row. Jumped up onto a 600 this year after racing in the European Talent Cup last year.
It's been a very positive jump up for Garcia. 2 Portuguese podiums, one in Estoril and one in Portimao. Super rookie season from the 16-year-old. Looks a big talent. Now Archie MacDonald here in the number 69, riding the MRE Talent machine. 4th in the championship, 46 points, but as you can see, still to get that podium. And look how close he has been. P6, P4, P6, P4. And it's always just been a matter of milliseconds. So he will be hopeful of finally making the breakthrough at this level. But bear in mind, he still is only 16, young Australian. So time is on his side, but he undoubtedly has the talent.
Yeah, in his rookie season in the stock 600 category, he was also another one of those rookies, plenty of rookies on this grid, and that's a lot of these riders use it as a stepping stone into the Moto2 category. Here's the number 74 then, Carter Brown, looking very, very strong so far this weekend. The British rider formerly riding in the British Talent Cup, rode in the European Talent Cup as well, riding for the CF Motorsport outfit. That's Craig Fitzpatrick's team, a former racer who successfully ran in the BSB paddock, taking multiple wins and podium. He's much happier now. Carter now he's on a 600cc machine. Now he's on a bigger machine. He's a tall lad. He's a big lad. He did well in the British Talent Cup. Struggled a little bit in the European Talent Cup on the Bridgestone tyres, but chasing his first points and He picked up his first point scoring finish last time out with a P13, so next step for him, top 10.
Yeah, super qualifying result for young Carter Brown. Let's hope that he can build on that as we look at Mario Mayor. P6 last time out. He had a super ride in the Algarve. He was competing for the podium places, but ended up having to go through the long lap penalty a couple of times. That still couldn't stop him coming 6th over the line.
Yeah, Mayor taking that long lap penalty last time out. You're riding for the Yamaha GV Stratos team, currently 5th place in the championship. Raced in the ESBK 600 championship last year and finished 8th. Here's Borja Jimenez. He lines up in 9th place on the grid. The number 95 machine riding for the Super Hugo 64 team, a team that was set up in honour of Hugo Millán. Just 17 years old, jumped up to the stock category after racing in Jerez and Portimao and ETC, but failing to qualify for the races. So he's making his first appearance in the category this year after competing in the ESBK 600cc category as well. So he'll be looking to pick up points and pick up experience on one of the bigger bikes. There's the number 37 of Corey Tinker, a British rider who's spent a good bit of time now out in the European stage and will be looking to push on. Been looking pretty strong this weekend so far as the number 37.
Yeah, he's put in some good efforts, but just a little bit further back on the grid than he would have liked in P14. But he looks a good talent, and he's definitely had some great races here throughout the campaign as of yet, battling for 6th, 7th place, but they've been very entertaining battles. Not afraid to get the old elbows out is Corey Tinker.
Right then, 16 laps of battle here between the stock 600 riders. Here's your starting grid. Dani Munoz will start from pole position ahead of Fernandez and Dino Iozzo. On row 2, that'll be headed by Rodriguez, Garcia with Archie McDonald rounding out row 2. Carter Brown, Mayor and Jimenez make up row 3.
Mario starts from P10 with Moreno and Alex Millan in P12. Keep an eye on the number 23, a very promising rider. Pascal Alfano alongside Corey Tinker and Jacobo Hustrick in row 5. Roca, Brooks and Hulowitz in the 6th row. While completing the grid is Nestola, Gonzalo Ribeiro, Javier del Olmo, and then at the very back, Jack Bednarak is joined by Gomez Arieta and Ferrer.
Right then, the final race of the day, the final race on the billing here in Barcelona. They only get one race, do the stock 600 category. A category used as a stepping stone up into the Moto 2 category. A cheaper option on the road bikes. Moto 2 category proving to be a little bit more expensive than the road bikes. Of course, those prototype machines for this, a more affordable category for the riders trying to make it out on the European scene and trying to be noticed. So it looks as if, as ever, it'll be a battle out the front between Dani Munoz and Eric Fernandez. The big question will be whether Dino Iozzo, who's been showing some good pace this weekend, the only rider to join Fernandez and Munoz inside the 147s during qualifying, will he be able to latch on to those two out the front? It is going to be an interesting one to see.
Yeah, outside 45 degrees Celsius on track. That is going to wear the tyres down quite a bit throughout this stock race. But we have some quality competitors in this class. All eyes will be on the number 17 of Daniel Munoz and the number 4 of Eric Fernandez, of course, as they continue their titanic title battle. But then the likes of Marco Garcia, Archie McDonald, Dino Iozzo has been on the podium a couple of times, as has Alex Millan. He's going to launch from P12, so there's a lot of quality to come through the field.
Right then, it's anyone's guess. Could it be Fernandez? Could it be Munoz? Will Iozzo be able to bridge the gap? He's always sort of been the bridge point in between Munoz and Fernandez. A lot of riders saying they look to him as a reference rather than Munoz and Fernandez because they're just so far ahead in a league of their own. And then Iozzo also in a league of his own, but a little bit further back from those two guys. So will he be able to bridge that gap this time around in the European stock category. We're about to find out. They come across to the grid and they will line up for their one and only race here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya.
The number 17 then rolls up to top spot on the grid. Daniel Munoz, little stoppy, got some heat into that front tyre. SP57 Racing Team, keep an eye out. Let's see what he does in the first lap. And does Eric Fernandez, who's taking his time getting up to second on the grid, does Eric Fernandez have an answer for Munoz?
16 laps of battle then ahead of the stock riders here in Barcelona. Who is going to take the spoils? Will anyone be able to dethrone Eric Fernandez? The attention turns to the lights for their one and only race here in Barcelona. The lights are on, the lights are out, and we're off. It's a good start from Munoz, it's a good start from Fernandez as well, as both of them start to break away a little bit from the pack. They're all defensive down into turn one, taking that inside line, and it is Munoz who has the whole shot comfortably.
Here comes Dino Iozzo up the inside, but he didn't quite make that stick and has been pushed back. I think that's Marco Garcia then, who has slipped into third place, but it is Munoz and Fernandez, as expected, leading 1-2. It's actually Adrian Rodriguez who has jumped up into third place. My mistake, my apologies. And Dino Iozzo has moved into fourth.
It's not what Iozzo needed. He's now through on Rodriguez. There's already a little bit of breathing space for those top two, as we said so often in this 2023 stock campaign, are just a cut above the rest, and Fernandez now taking the lead.
Runs a little bit wide, but should keep it pinned, and he does have the advantage here. He means business. This could be huge for him. They could really reduce the title lead. We're still a long way in, but Dino Iozzo doesn't want to let these two guys bolt out at the front, and the number 13 of the IUM Motorsports machine is keeping tabs on Fernandez and Munoz. But as things stand, it's Eric Fernandez who's gotten the dream opening lap, and he leads. Dino Iozzo, is he going to chance it? He's a little too far, and in fact,
Rodriguez round the outside.
Adrian Rodriguez round the outside, but way too wide.
Yeah, that's not going to stick. If you've got Dino Iozzo up the inside, he's not shy of a move, but Rodriguez gets the cut back through the right-hander.
Munoz unhappy with something
Not sure what he's unhappy with, and perhaps a tear-off, but it just looked as if either complaining or a tear-off there for Danny Munoz, as a hand flicked up as they went through the right-hander into the final couple of corners for the first time as they head onto the front straight. A few riders heading out onto the green there, out of track limits, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Fernandez it is that leads then, ahead of Munoz. Rodriguez it is in third. Can Iozzo put himself in the mix? And he does. He puts himself into second place. Brilliantly done there from the number 13.
Bunted back into fourth place. Rodriguez and Iozzo mean business here.
Iozzo trying to get through there. There's no way he's going to make it through, but he does. There was no room there, and he pushed him out the way.
Brilliant stuff from Iozzo. This is a big, big ride from him. Munoz has been pushed all the way back. Now he's got Marco Garcia swarming all over the back of... Has Garcia actually gotten through on him now? But, wow, Munoz has some trouble here. We predicted that Munoz and Eric Fernandez were going to be in a class of their own. Well, how wrong were we? 2 laps in, Iozzo shows he means business. Adrian Rodriguez means business, and Marco Garcia, too, is right there in the thick of it in the top 5.
Iozzo then, it is that leads. A surprise here in the Stock European Championship. We said that he was looking strong this weekend, and he's going and he's proven us right at the front of this race. It's Iozzo then that leads ahead of Eric Fernandez and Rodriguez. Munoz has been pushed back to fourth, but he's trying to bite back. Eric Fernandez takes the lead, and Munoz moves up into third place now.
So Fernandez in control once again. Dino Iozzo, let's see how long it takes Daniel Munoz to make a move on Iozzo, and let's see how Iozzo responds, because you feel Munoz will not want to let Eric Fernandez build up much of an advantage out front. But yes, he doesn't want to battle Iozzo in case he still gets put back into third position. That does just hand the advantage to Fernandez once again. Fernandez, you can see here, is a couple bike lengths already, and here comes Munoz on the outside of Iozzo.
Iozzo covering that inside line well, but Munoz is going to dart to the inside at turn 1. Round the outside at turn 1 goes Iozzo on Fernandez, but Fernandez says no. And he made sure there's no way through for Dino Iozzo. It's going to be really interesting now to see how Fernandez and Munoz cope with having other riders around them, because they've been out at the front on their own all season long. So it'll be interesting to see now how they'll fare with the likes of Iozzo and Rodriguez in the mix.
Yeah, they've got a fight on their hands. Like you said, nobody has been able to get near either of these two guys throughout the season. They've only been keeping each other company out front. But now look at Dino Iozzo. It looks like he's made a serious step today. We've got Adrian Rodriguez there. We've got Marco Garcia. It's quite a big league group over the course of these opening laps. So yeah, let's just see. Of particular interest will be Dino Iozzo. Is this just some early race form, or can he go the distance with the heavyweights of this class? Just a little bit further back, it's Munoz in third, Adrian Rodriguez in fourth, Garcia fifth, Alex Millan is already up to sixth after starting 12th, Mario Mayor into seventh, Archie McDonald to eighth, Carter Brown on for a good point, he's in ninth position, while Borja Jimenez rounds out the top 10 as things stand.
Meanwhile, Fernandez is starting to check out. Munoz could see that happening, and he put himself up the inside of Dino Iozzo down at turn 10. Can Munoz now reel in Fernandez? You'd like to think so. The pace so far this race has been a little bit off what we've been seeing from these guys. That could be down to the heat and track conditions, but I would expect the times to tumble a little bit more than they have so far, and they do. Fernandez sets the fastest lap of the race so far then, 1:48.0, and he improves his time by almost a second, and he's starting to stretch these guys out now then. Will Iozzo be able to go with them? Will Rodriguez be able to go with them?
Yeah, Iozzo, you can already see the gap. There's a few bike lanes in there, so it looks like the top two in the championship are going to check out and pull the pin a little bit. Let's see what Dino Iozzo has in store. Can he, well, he's got Rodriguez and a couple of riders hunting him down behind him, but if he can just find a couple of tenths over the next few sectors, then he'll be right back on the tail of the top two. Runs a little bit wide there. But some good starts then for other riders. Fernandez confirmation then, a 1:48.052, fastest lap of the race so far. And in response to that, through Sector 1, Danny Munoz and Sector 2 has set the fastest to Sector 1 and Sector 2 of the race so far. So Munoz looking to gain ground on the number 4 ahead of him.
He's got that carrot being dangled ahead of him. He's reeling in Eric Fernandez out the front. Fernandez has only been able to get the better of Munoz once this year. Will he be able to do it here in Barcelona? Dino Iozzo very, very lively on the brakes. Every lap he comes round completely sideways into every corner. I'm just wondering if it's losing him a little bit of time here. But perhaps just his style, just the way he likes to ride. We'll see what the lap times are this time around, but I think it's safe to say the top two are checking out once again in the European Stock Championship. It was only a matter of time, really. But now Iozzo's got his hands full in the battle for third, in the form of the number 44 Rodriguez. Marco Garcia's in there as well in 5th place on the number 8 machine. Now, how close has Munoz been able to get? He sets a 47.8 on that last lap. That's the fastest lap of the race so far, 2 tenths quicker than Fernandez, and he's now latched onto his rear wheel. We have a race on our hands for the race win once again.
So a little further back, just checking on Corey Tinker. He's riding through, magnificent hair flowing out of the helmet on the young Brighton. He's just tucked in, is it Carter Brown? Yeah, yep. Tucked in behind Carter Brown with Archie McDonald then ahead of Brown. Archie McDonald, the number 69 there, is a big, big talent in this class, and they'll be looking to rope in some of the bigger group ahead of them. Daniel Munoz then still chasing down Eric Fernandez out front. Fernandez seemingly having a response for him. He was 2 tenths slower on the last lap. And looking at the times now, it's been advantage to Fernandez. He's put a little bit of time back between them over that last sector. Not a whole lot of time, but just a little. Daniel Munoz, though, will not give up in the pursuit of his title dream. A little bit further back, are we going to see some movement here? We've got Adrian Rodriguez and Dino Iozzo. Dino Iozzo sliding through the left-hander there. Adrian Rodriguez looked at that angle like he might have been close enough for a move. But in fact,
there's a bike down in the background there.
And who is that gone down? I think that might be Borja Jimenez, but I'm not quite sure. I didn't get a good look at it. We'll update you momentarily.
We'll keep an eye
Yellow
on that
flags
one.
are out at turns 10 and 11. As you could see, a rider went down in the background. We'll bring you confirmation momentarily. In fact, it's Mario Mayor who's gone down. I thought it was Borja Jimenez who's riding alone, ploughing a lone furrow just behind the lead groups. But in fact, it's Mayor who was just a little bit closer to those guys in the podium battle. So now it's a two-way fight for victory.
Big mistake there from Fernandez as he runs wide. He's looking behind him. Does he think there's
a couple
red
looks
flag?
behind them.
They're both looking behind.
So maybe there's an on-track distraction, but there's something happening.
I don't see red flag. Perhaps
Hands
he thought he
waving.
saw a red flag. Possibly. Almost.
We'll bring you an update as we learn about it ourselves, but that's Munoz has now closed the gap to him. Munoz as well also had a little look around, and he has another one there to keep looking around.
What's going on here?
Something is happening, yeah.
Perhaps an issue here for Fernandez or something, because he went wide.
Both riders seem...
Well, I think Fernandez is just holding up Munoz here. Munoz doesn't know what's going on.
Dino Hiotto is right on them. Is he trying to slow them down? And he's not trying to slow them down and get them into the pack. What's happening here?
Surely there's an issue. He's still looking behind him. I'm not sure what's going on there with Eric Fernandez. At first I thought...
of sights here in Barcelona. They both had a massive gap out front, but they've been reeled in a matter of seconds. And it looks like neither rider knows if the race is continuing. Did they see a red flag? Well, it seems the riders behind are happy to continue racing. So,
well, it's perhaps
strange state
Fernandez
of
thought
affairs.
he saw one in the first sector, but I don't think that's the case because he's continuing going and he's still losing time. Let's have a look at the lap times on this next lap because it's going to be considerably slower. I'll have a keep an eye on the top speed as well. I don't know if it's a speed issue, but I don't think it is because he ran wide at turn 1 and then started looking behind him as if there was some sort of issue there, but he seems to be back on the gas here. Not sure, 151s for both of them on the last.
Than what they had been doing.
So we'll have to see what they do this time
for the group
around.
behind. Now it's all to play for here. Fernandez still in front, and look at that. Adrian Rodriguez has moved into second. Danny Munoz has trouble on his hands once more. Dino Hiotto. Oh, that is an outrageous move on the flip-flap. Takes the outside line, jumps from 4th to 2nd place. That is a special move as we look at a retired rider here. Jacobo Hostrich, unfortunately for him, has pitted early. But back out front, after one of the strangest laps you're likely to see on a racetrack, Eric Fernandez still leads, but Dino Hiotto, with a brilliant move, has pushed himself into 2nd place.
Hiotto very, very close to the rear wheel of Eric Fernandez there. I'm gonna have to keep an eye on the lap times here because Fernandez still looking behind him and was just struggling through that first sector. Now, if Hiotto can get through on him, we'll have to see if Hiotto can pull away because it just feels like there's something not right here on that number 4 machine because there's no way you just lose 3 seconds. Obviously, he's looking behind him a lot. So I don't know what's going on there on that machine, but once Hiotto's past him, we'll see if he pulls away. Munoz looking eager to get back past Dino Hiotto. They look as if they're back on normal pace, but we'll have to wait and see when they come across the line to see what the lap times are.
There's something in Sector 1 that keeps drawing their attention, it would seem.
Yeah, it's Fernandez. He's just holding them up. There's something on the change of direction. He looks behind every time on the change of direction. He just seemed like he was struggling to change direction first time. Let's have a look this time around because he looks fine through the rest of the circuit. I don't see any issues anywhere else. So let's have a look here. The lap times are back down to more or less what they were doing before, slightly slower, but nothing massively out of the ordinary. That number 13 machine so quick in a straight line. Right, let's have a look through this first sector then. Through the right. Okay, we're looking at Munoz. All right, I guess we won't see it then.
We'll keep a look and...
Seemed fine that time, yeah, no idea.
Just the reaction
no
there.
Idea.
Yeah, it's very, very strange state of affairs. Perhaps around turn 5 as well. We might just have a little look because they began to slow down throughout this whole sector. I think it's coming around here as well. He couldn't be trying to intentionally slow the pace, just get the other guys into it because even if he does win every race and Munoz comes 2nd in every race, I believe, if my maths is correct, not to speculate too much, but Munoz is odds-on title favourite, so he needs some favours from the other riders, or for example, Munoz to record a DNF, and he needs to win the races. But It's a strange state of affairs. Regardless, he still leads. Dino Iozzo is in second place, and Dino Iozzo will be delighted by whatever happened there, because it looked like the front two had decided to check out, and now he's pushed himself. Brilliant move in that turn 1, turn 2, right to left switch to get from 4th to 2nd. And then that's the number 23 of Alex Millan, who's just pushed himself up into 4th place. Brilliant ride from the 50 Motorsport rider. Number 23, keep an eye on him there, just ahead of Marco Garcia. Started 12th on the grid and has been putting in some fast laps. And now it was chasing a podium of all things.
All right, then he stretched them out again on this lap then. So seems to have put the hammer back down, 48.4 on that last lap. So he's back to the pace we know that he's capable of for Eric Fernandez. So whatever happened there, whether he was slowing the pace up, it seems to be over now, but it's put Iozzo straight into the mix, and he doesn't need a second invitation. He will happily get well and truly stuck in on that number 13 machine. Fernandez then, it is that leads and seems to be controlling this race in some form at the front. Iozzo though all over his rear wheel, just clinging onto his coattails now as Fernandez continues to put the hammer down. It looks as if these front three now is starting to break away with 7.5 laps remaining. Are we going to have a three-way scrap for the lead as the laps tick away? This battle then for 4th between Millan, Garcia and Rodriguez is hotting up nicely as well. That'll be one we'll have to keep an eye out on.
Yeah, absolutely. Some big talent here. Alex Millan is on a fine run. Quite a surprise to see him qualify so low down on the grid, but it's no surprise to see him charging through. A couple podiums to his name this season, lots of top 5s, top 6 results, and generally always part of that podium fight that's left behind Eric Fernandez and Daniel Munoz. But Dino Iozzo remains in 2nd. Marco Garcia just goes through on Adrian Rodriguez. But Millan very much in control here, runs a little bit wide but gets to drive out, cuts it back left, and still in control here. So 2 front groups forming here, one for the podium battle and victory, and the second for 4th place. If they can fall in behind Alex Millan, he's lapping quite quickly, not quite as quick as the guys ahead of them. Dino Iozzo doing an excellent job there, and yeah, just checking back, another group forming back, but it's Alex Millan. If they can just keep going at this pace, it looks like the front three might open up a bit of a gap, but if Eric Fernandez decides to slow down the race again, who knows what could happen. Yeah,
still perplexed as to what happened there, but we can only wonder. Oh, and a nice move there as Millan goes wide. Rodriguez takes full advantage of it. Sorry, I believe it was the number 8 of Marco Garcia actually who went wide. So a good move there on his teammate, number 44. He's telling him to follow him. He believes he can catch the top 3. Well, if you think you can do it, let's have a look. Let's have a look if you see if you can do it.
He needs to find a couple of tenths at least to match the pace of the guys out front. Dino Iozzo was the quickest of those 3 riders in the podium places last time out, a 1:48.1, and a couple of tenths as well on the other 2 guys. So maybe, just maybe, they're beginning to slow down Fernandez and Munoz and settled into a rhythm out front here, which is very much music to the ears of Eric Fernandez, Dino Iozzo, Daniel Munoz though. Let's see how much he's willing to risk it. 16 points currently on offer. Another little look behind, but 16 points on offer from Munoz. Will he risk it all and go for victory?
He's looking behind again there. I'm wondering maybe if you're right, Chris, if he is trying to slow the pace up, because look, these guys are coming in on them again and they're catching this front 3 again. So I wonder if he's just trying to put as many bikes between him and Danny Munoz, but he's looking good at the front of this race on the number 4 machine. He's controlling the race perfectly, exactly what he needs to be doing, and I wonder, let's have a look at the laps.
You can see it now, the number 44 of Adrian Rodriguez is really closed that gap. So this is going to be interesting. From him.
Let's have a look at the lap times. 50.2 he is, I think he is.
And Dino Iozzo might make him pay here. He's gone right side by side, and here comes Munoz up the inside. Well, Eric Fernandez, that is karma. If that is what he was doing, we can't speculate too much, but Danny Munoz has decided enough is enough and he wants to lead. Here comes Fernandez. What's he got in his back pocket then for the championship leader?
could just see Munoz as he went down into turn 1, looking down at the dash. He'll be looking to make sure he selected the right gear. And the fact that he went wide, I think he was just in too high of a gear there, didn't have enough engine braking to get it down to the apex. But it hasn't cost him too much time. Now is the braking point. If Munoz can put the hammer down and take Fernandez with him, it might stop the games from the number 4. Now what Fernandez needs to do is bike straight back at Danny Munoz, and he's going to be looking to try and do that. Is he going to be able to do it though? 5.5 laps to go of this race, and we very much have a race on our hands. Everyone's looking behind them in this one. Look where you're going.
Yeah. Corey Tinker is down turn 4. Huge disappointment for him. He's been excellent all season. He's really developed into a top rider at this class. Still waiting for that, maybe that real breakthrough result. Ooh, it was a fast one too, eh? Couple tumbles through the gravel trap. And Eric Fernandez now has got big problems. He's been pushed back. I'm perplexed, as you said, to what actually has been going on. The lap times, 150s last time out. I'd imagine a much quicker one now. Danny Munoz has said enough is enough, and he's going to bolt out front. Dino Iozzo wants to stick with him, but Eric Fernandez really needs to get back onto the coattails of the man in P1. That's Danny Munoz, the number 17, a 1:49.653 that time. So not a whole lot quicker, but definitely quicker than what the pace that had been set. Coming into turn 1 then, will there be any change in the lead? Not quite.
Oh, I love watching Iozzo on the brakes. Gets it sideways, gets it leery every single lap. He's enjoying that Yamaha R6, and it is a characteristics of the R6. You bang it down the box, and a lot of the time the rear wheel steps out, and he uses it to full effect. Really impressive stuff from Iozzo. Now, Fernandez needs to be careful here, because he's trying to run this strategy, we think, of putting bikes in between him and Munoz. But now it's the roles have reversed, in a sense, and he's got a bike in between him and Munoz, but the wrong way around.
Exactly. And he's got problems behind, because Adrian Rodriguez, Marco Garcia and Alex Mian are not going anywhere just yet. So he's going to take a little look up the inside here. Not quite. Dino Iozzo is putting some space between them. I'm not sure what's going on with Eric Fernandez. Does he potentially have a problem on the bike? Again, a few riders having a little peek behind them to see what's going on. But yeah, let's just keep an eye on how this progresses. Just over 4 laps to go, under 5 laps remaining. It is Danny Munoz who leads. He won't quite take the championship with this result, but if things stay like this, it's a huge step in the right direction for the SP57 racing team rider, with the number 17 emblazoned across the front of his machine. Dino Iozzo, though, he's on for a super ride and potentially a season best performance.
3 wins out of 4 races so far then for Danny Munoz. Can he make it 4 out of 5 here, or will Iozzo or will Fernandez make their way ahead of him? Iozzo's losing a little bit of ground there, and Fernandez can sense it. Fernandez trying to get the better of Iozzo down into turn 1. He's got the inside line. Who's going to blink first on the brakes? It was Iozzo, incredibly late on the brakes. Almost touches the rear of Eric Fernandez there. Danny Munoz. Munoz runs a little bit wide, but keeps them at bay for now.
Yeah, Iozzo very late on the brakes there. It looked like he might have just gotten up the inside of Munoz, forced him wide, which would have played into Fernandez's hands. But Iozzo, again, he's just a little bit too far. He's got about a bike length and a half between them. So Iozzo will probably need to start making up some ground, get into that slipstream. Remember, it's a kilometre in length, the front straight here in Barcelona, so there is plenty of slipstream on offer. But it's one of the best races of the campaign so far. Danny Munoz has got problems. He is leading here. Eric Fernandez is in 3rd. It's really ripped up the script of the season to date. Dino Iozzo is not going anywhere, nor Adrian Rodriguez, Marco Garcia or Alex Mian. They're a little further back. Munoz well into the green there. So we've seen riders on the green plenty of times already in this race. We'll need to be careful, Danny Munoz, if you don't want to get your track limits warning or a penalty.
Yep, that'll be one to keep an eye out, one to watch. From memory, I don't think he's been on the green, or haven't spotted anyway, him going out of track bounds at any other point in this race, but obviously the stewards will have a lot more of a view than we do. Right then, Munoz then, controlling this race out the front now, putting the hammer down. Last lap was a 48.3, so the pace has really dropped here, and you can see that because the front three have broken away. Are we going to see a change for the lead anytime soon, or is Eric Fernandez going to try and make his way past Dino Iozzo? They're three abreast going down into turn one. Fernandez trying to go around the outside of Iozzo. Iozzo's not going to let that happen, but he's got the inside line through turn two, but no, Iozzo closes the door.
Brilliant stuff from Iozzo. It looked like Fernandez had lined that up, late on the brakes, getting on the outside, trying to get that inside line, but Iozzo closes the door, slams it shut in his face, and he's not letting go of this P2 without it being a dogfight, saying that he might still fancy his chances of getting on to out in front, rather, of Daniel Munoz. Munoz still unable to break away. It's not like what we've seen in the year previous now. They've put a bit of space between them, and here we go, track limits warning for the number 17.
There we go.
Just so now it's another twist in this race. Should he go onto the green again? If he sets off those sensors, Danny Munoz must go through the long lap penalty. And Tristan, as you know, it is a pretty unforgiving long lap penalty here in Barcelona.
Yeah, absolutely. When we've seen it happen in a couple of the other categories, and you do lose a lot of time going through that long lap loop at the beginning of the lap. Iozzo again gets it very leery on the brakes, sideways on that number 13 pink machine. Nice livery on that bike.
Yeah, really nice. Sultan of Slide as well.
Easy to spot.
Apt title for Iozzo. I do appreciate the way he's sideways in through some of these corners. Now Munoz just needs to keep each corner pinned. A 1:48.427 last lap. Eric Fernandez was pretty much the same, 1:48.2. And after this lap, Fernandez just has a slight edge, as does Iozzo over Munoz. So are we going to look at a move coming up here?
Oh,
Eric Fernandez is into second. Under 2 laps remaining now. Chance for Fernandez to make his move.
Right then, is it hammer down time now for Eric Fernandez? 2 laps remaining of this stock European Championship. It's R6's 1, 2, 3. Well, Yamaha's all the way through this field, really, with the exception of one Kawasaki. But Munoz then leads the way ahead of Fernandez. Fernandez now, it's now or never for him if he's going to try and put himself ahead of Danny Munoz. We asked the question ahead of the race whether Dino Iozzo would be able to cling on to these guys, and he has been able to do it. He's matching their pace, matching their lap times.
A little further back then, we see Adrian Rodriguez winning this battle for 4th. Just ahead Marco Garcia. Alex Mian has faded somewhat. He was probably setting a little bit too hot of a pace to keep going. You can see him just there in the background of this battle, so he'll have to settle in for a 6th place finish. Out front though, Munoz still leading. Oh, Eric Fernandez just going to have a little look up the inside there. He's definitely not close enough for it to pull off. Maybe just showing a little wheel to Munoz, put him under pressure, maybe force him into a mistake. And remember, there's a track limits warning already applied to Danny Munoz, so he's got to be perfect going through some of these corners.
We've been admiring Iozzo's sideways style all race long, but he had a little bit too much there down into turn 10 and lost a little bit of time because of it. And now it's last lap time. Iozzo's a little bit adrift. Looks as if he's out of victory contention, but anything can happen here in motorcycle racing as Fernandez goes to the outside down into turn 1. Munoz going very defensive, but we know Fernandez can make that round the outside move. Munoz isn't having any of it though. They come through the first sector for the first time, and it looks as if Iozzo's just reeled him in ever so slightly, but still a little bit of breathing space between Fernandez and Dino Iozzo. Where will Fernandez make the move? Will he be able to make the move?
First opportunity gone then at turns 1 and 2. Brilliant from Munoz on the brakes. It looked like Fernandez may have had that slipstream coming around then. Not much of an opportunity there. What about here at turn 5? Popular overtaking place, but once again it seems Fernandez is just a little bit far away. Defensive line from Munoz hanging off his bike there. Another couple chances then for Fernandez, but he's going to need to get a lot closer here.
Yep, Munoz is defending it well now. either go down into turn 9. Now this run through turn 9 is going to be very important for Fernandez. He's going to need to get on the rear wheel, and he does. He's got a good drive out of there.
Very close to track
Will
limits.
he be able to? He is. Will he be able to make the move down into turn 10? He gives it a go.
Oh, here he
He's
comes.
not too tight either. He pushes a perfect block pass from Fernandez. Will Munoz have any answer for him? He doesn't have an answer through here. Oh, but Fernandez really closing the door there. No way through for Munoz. The only way now is either a drag to the line or an absolute lunge at the final corner. Is it going to happen? It doesn't need to for Munoz, but he's having a go. He's doing it.
Oh, he's got him.
And
He's got
there's
it
no way.
Fernandez has been pushed on the outside.
Munoz takes victory in Barcelona with an incredible last lap move, reminiscent of Valentino Rossi in 2009. And there's nothing that Eric Fernandez could have done about it. He pulls off the impossible in Barcelona.
What a move. We thought Eric Fernandez had done the job getting inside at turn 10. But what a move. Valentino Rossi, Jorge Lorenzo, Daniel Munoz, Eric Fernandez. What a sensational move from the number 17. And crucially, a huge result for his championship chase. It puts him 35 points out with 50 left on the board. Wow, what a race here in Barcelona.
I think we need to stop saying that if you come out of turn 10 in the lead, you're going to win the race, because we've been proven wrong once again here, this time by Danny Munoz. An incredible victory. He's got to be happy with that one. Fernandez puts his hand up, did absolutely everything he could, but nothing could have been done about that. Like we said, he's pulled off the impossible at the final corner. What a move from Munoz. He's proud of that one. Tries to skid it into turn 5. Munoz then. 4 victories in 5 races for the Spaniard. And Fernandez will be wondering what he has to do to get the better of the number 17 SP57 Racing Team machine. Clearly there's not much he can do. Perfect performance by Munoz. Brilliant, brilliant in Barcelona. Dino Iozzo put in an incredible race to cling on to the guys, but perhaps just lost a little bit of grip towards the end with all those slides, all that sideways action that we saw all race long from Iozzo. Perhaps just chewed up a little bit too much of that tyre. Didn't quite have enough in the tank on that final lap. But Danny Munoz, I'm still trying to catch my breath from that one. Oh, what a ride from the number 17. What a last corner, what a last lap. Nice sideways action there again from Iozzo. He celebrates leaving a dark line. He's leaving his mark on the Barcelona circuit. Picks up another podium on his 2023 campaign. That's his 3rd podium this year out of 5 races. So looking very strong, incredibly consistent for the South African, running under the Italian flag with an Italian father, but was born in South Africa and I believe still lives there. Danny Munoz then comes into pit lane and look at him. He can't believe it. I couldn't believe it. He can't believe it. An incredible run from him and absolutely untouchable. His worst result this season has been 2nd place. He's won every race apart from one, and that race was 2nd at Jerez to Eric Fernandez. Fernandez tried everything he could, but it wasn't enough. He's congratulated, and look how much the team are loving that. I don't blame them. What an incredible victory. That's one that he's never going to forget. That's a last corner that I'm not going to forget in a hurry. I don't think any of the spectators will forget either. He can't believe it. The team can't believe it. Incredible scenes here. And really nice to see that. We stand with you, Carlos. Carlos Tatai, unfortunately, sat out of Moto2 European Championship action this weekend with his injury. We know he's okay. Well, relatively okay. He's on the road to recovery. Eric Fernandez then, what does he have to do to take victory? He tried everything he could, but he put in that perfect pass at the final corner, but it was, at the turn 10, but it wasn't enough after that brilliant final corner manoeuvre from Munoz. Iotzo's happy with that one. Yes, he stuck with them until the checkered flag more or less just dropped off the boil ever so slightly at the end. Yeah, apologies for the language, but yes, it is quite hot out there, Dino. Here's how it happened then. There was plenty of action out the front. Danny Munoz was pulling off incredible move after incredible move on the number 17 machine. Went incredibly defensive on that final lap. Fernandez tried all he could to get the better of Munoz, making the perfect block pass at turn 10, did absolutely everything he needed to do. But unfortunately, the door was left ever so slightly open and Danny Munoz did not need a second invitation. He takes victory in one of the most spectacular, probably the best move of the day in the Finetwork FIM JuniorGP Championships. An incredible way to finish the billing here, and you're going to hear from the race winner, Danny Munoz, who's down in Parc Fermé with Chris Jordan.
Yeah, thanks, Tristan. Danny, at times, a little bit of a strange race, but the finish, my word, a sensational way to take yet another win here in the stock class.
Yeah, the race was strange because the pace is very slow. And when I see this pace, I try my best. I think that it's better try my best in the last lap. And when the last lap, I push my maximum, and the last corners, Eric passed me, and I passed him in the last corner. I'm very happy. Thank you for Robert, my trainer, Jorge Arroyo, my team, y una pronta recuperación a Tatay.
Y ahora, todo en español, porfa.
La carrera ha sido muy rara, el ritmo ha sido muy lento. Eric quería frenar al grupo, pero bueno, al final hemos sabido desenvolvernos bien. En mitad de carrera he metido un tirón, a ver si podía sacar una distancia, pero he visto que era difícil. Y he aguantado ahí el ritmo, sabía que Eric me iba a adelantar en esa curva y yo tenía claro que tenía que intentarlo en la última. Muy contento, agradecer a Robo, mi entrenador, a Jorge Arroyo, al equipo y a Carlos Tatay.
Bueno, felicidades y muchas gracias.
Here's how the action went down in Barcelona for the Stock European Championship. It was an incredible start from Danny Munoz, who took the whole shot from pole position. He led the way on the opening lap as Eric Fernandez pushed his way into second place. It looked as if Munoz was going to run away, but not if Fernandez had anything to say about it. There was this incredible move from Dino Iotzo, who pushed his way through on Eric Fernandez and put in an incredible performance to take the podium. Iotzo led the way in the opening laps, but Fernandez then was incredible on the brakes down into turn 10 and put himself underneath the South African, running under the Italian flag. Fernandez to continue to push on. Looked as if there was some issue halfway through the race, slowed the pack down, was trying to put, we think, bikes in between him and Danny Munoz. Not 100% what happened there. Danny Munoz, though, making moves on Dino Iotzo halfway through the race. Plenty of overtakes happened down at turn 10, and unfortunately, the number 82 went down and out. That was Mayor. Moves were happening at turn 1, number 44. Rodriguez was putting himself into the mix at one point in the race. He was to be battered about down the order a little bit and then finished in 5th place by the end of it. Fernandez then pushed his way back to the front, and he was scrapping away with the likes of Iotzo and Danny Munoz for the rest of the race. Munoz made that move down into turn 1, looked as if he'd missed a gear, went slightly wide, but managed to keep the pack behind him. Corey Tinker, unfortunately, went down and out of the race. So he ended his Barcelona weekend in the gravel trap. Danny led the way then onto the final few laps as there were some wild rushes into turn 1. Fernandez went round the outside of Iotzo. Iotzo then just dropped off the back of the front two, but managed to consolidate P3. And then on the final lap, Eric Fernandez, perfect block pass at turn 10, put himself up the inside of Fernandez. He thought he got the job done, but then as the team looked on, it was the move of all moves at the final corner as Dani Munoz put it up the inside of Eric Fernandez to take an incredible victory in the Stock European Championship ahead of Fernandez and Iozzo. The team were happy with it, and so was Munoz. An incredible victory, an incredible end to his weekend in Barcelona.
SP57 Racing Team y es Manuel Pastrana quien va a recoger el premio.
Team representative then for the SP57 squad heads onto the podium to receive his trophy. Dino Iozzo then running under the Italian flag heads onto the podium. Bambino is the nickname for him, has been since he was racing in Supersport 300 on the Honda. Eric Fernandez doesn't look happy with that one, but there's nothing else that he could have done about it, Chris.
No, absolutely not. I mean, those moves are just so rare. He timed his to perfection, but just clearly something special on that last corner from Dani Munoz. You can see the contrast of emotions there. All very happy on one side there at the top step. Eric Fernandez gutted. He thought this was a big opportunity to get himself back into the title fight.
Unfortunately for Fernandez, it was a masterclass from Munoz once again, who took another 25 points towards his championship campaign. And surely now, he hasn't won the championship yet, but surely the deal is more or less sealed for the number 17. For 4 victories out of 5 races, the only race he hasn't won, he was second. It was this man who receives the second place trophy once again, who got the better of him back in Jerez. He's got the pace, but clearly Munoz has got the strategy and he's got the race form. It is Munoz who takes another win, he receives his trophy, and he's delighted with that one. So we'll hear now the Spanish national anthem. Dani Munoz takes another victory for Spain then, ahead of his Spanish compatriot Eric Fernandez and Dino Iozzo rounding out the podium. What does Fernandez have to do to get the better of Munoz?
It's a big, big question for sure, Tristan, because Dani Munoz just has that X factor in this class, doesn't he? Eric Fernandez is also excellent and absolutely no mug, but he's been second, 1 win, and he's been second every other time. And the one time he didn't come 1 or 2, he had crashed out from the lead. Well, he's got to keep learning. 35 points now, though, in the championship between the top two. You can see Eric Fernandez still not overly delighted. Very bittersweet podium for him. But Dani Munoz and Dino Iozzo very much leading the celebrations. Some fizzy water and Prosecco there, as a little bit of earth, wind and fire belts out around the circuit. Once again, DJ on point today.
The podium DJ, I think we should make this more of a common thing, podium DJ. Let's have a little look then at how it ended. There's your confirmation. Daniel Munoz took the victory ahead of his championship rival, Eric Fernandez. Dino Iozzo with an important podium, this 3rd podium of the season, ahead of Marco Garcia and Adrian Rodriguez, who rounded out the top 5. Alex Mian finished in 6th place ahead of Borja Jimenez and Archie McDonald down in 8th. Carter Brown on the number 74 brought home a solid top 10, his first top 10 on the number 74. Moreno finished in P10 ahead of Roca, Armario and Dan Brooks, who's got a shoulder injury at the moment after a crash at Jerez. Pascual Alfano down in 14th ahead of Julovic in 15th. Del Olmo. 18th place went to Jack Bednarek, the Brit. ahead of Arrieta, Mayor, Ferreira, and then unfortunately Corey Tinker, one of the non-scorers. Here's how it affected the championship then. It's a 35-point lead for Daniel Munoz after his 4th victory of the season. Eric Fernandez is 35 points adrift, with Marco Garcia still there in 3rd place, 49 points away from Munoz in 1st. Iozzo jumps up to 4th place in the standings ahead of Archie McDonald and Alex Millon, Adrian Rodriguez, Corey Tinker rounding out the top 9. Max Rocker rounds out the top 10 ahead of Morena, Hoschik, Dan Brooks and Carter Brown. Jimenez rounds out the top 15 in the championship ahead of Nestola and Alfano with 7 points to his name for the Italian on board his Yamaha R6. Ribeiro is 18th in the championship as well, 7 points to his name ahead of Rivera, Florov, Armario, Jack Bednarek down in 22nd, 4 points to his name ahead of Del Olmo, Hulovic and Arrieta, both with 3 points to their name in 24th and 25th respectively. Munoz now then with a firm hold on the championship, and the pack will be wondering what they have to do to get the better of the Spaniard. An incredible victory for Munoz and an incredible end to the day's action here in Barcelona. We've had a brilliant day of racing and we've had some incredible action that's kept us glued to our screens all the way through. But ending with a win for Danny Munoz.